Alright guys, so today is like day 3 or 4 of this ice storm here in Texas, and we call it an ice storm and it's probably just snowed to a lot of people. And if you're up north, you're probably laughing at us right now, but down here, this kind of freeze for days on days is just a massive hassle for us. It means UPS might not be running, suppliers might not be shipping, chemicals or emulsions or even your t-shirt suppliers like S&S and Sanmar, roads are icy, etc. And inside of a print shop, one little thing freezes and it can stop everything. Over the weekend, it all froze. Monday, we called off work. Everybody in the state seemed not to be working. But now it's Tuesday and we have to start getting to work. Over the weekend, the whole water situation froze and our backup system that was supposed to save me didn't. And the twist is the heater in my screen room was down the entire time, so my screens and my MNRI image were sitting in freezing temperatures for days on days. And that is what I thought was going to fail me the most. And guess what? That actually worked. So yeah, last night I was solving our frozen water situation and accidentally myth-busting screen making. Hey guys, real quick, today's video is sponsored by FABRIC.INK. Fabric is an executive coaching program built specifically for print shops like you and me. You can almost look at it, really it's an accountability group, but I kind of look at it as like a therapy group. And not a therapy session with your mom or your dad or your partner, but a therapy session with other print shops going through the same stuff that you're going through. So click the link below, check out the other shops that have joined, and click apply today to level up your shop, to level up your revenue, to level up your mindset. Quick shout out to today's video sponsor, Printavo. Printavo is your all-in-one shop management software for shops of all sizes. If you have a front-end team and a back-end team, you have to have one place that's the truth, that spoke to every single order, the work order for us that lives in Printavo. I've used Printavo for over the last 7 years of my business and I can't imagine growing the shop that I have without it. Click the link in the description today to get 10% off your subscription. Now let's get into today's video. All right, so for some quick context, out here in the sticks, we are on well water. So if the well pump goes down, we're screwed and we have no water. But let's say the well is fine. I have this pipe that comes out of the ground, and when this pipe freezes over, I do not have water in my shop. And when temperatures drop into the teens for multiple days, this exposed pipe can freeze as well. And once that happens, there's no water. And no water, you already know what that means. No screens. No screens means no printed jobs. And the shop is dead in its tracks without water. So I want to take a second and show y'all this whole water backup system I built specifically for moments like this. Here you see a 55-gallon drum of water, which is my reserve and my backup. And this here is a demand pump. So if I was just to hook a water hose to this 55-gallon drum of water, it would just be gravity pushed, gravity dribbling out. It would be nothing. Like I would literally just have water trickling out of the water hose. That's why you need this demand pump. The simplest way to understand this demand pump or on-demand pump, it's like a pressure pump with an automatic switch. So when the water hose nozzle is closed, it holds pressure and it stays off. But the second you open up the water hose nozzle, pressure drops, the pump kicks on and pushes water through. So it feels like real running water, and you can hook this up to a regular water hose or to your pressure washer. And on many occasions, this setup has saved me. The well pump goes down, I have this set up. There's freezing water outside, frozen pipes outside. This setup has saved me. But the lesson this year, so basically my washout area is basically outside under all this business, all this tarp area so all this is like obviously frozen. So in this whole area, it's very cold. And I didn't keep the tank heated. So my backup water became just a backup block of ice. And I stood there staring at this setup here last night realizing, man, my emergency plan is frozen too. So now here I am, it's late. It's cold, it's in the teens. We need screens for tomorrow. The next day, the team's coming to work. Plan B, which is this blue tank of backup water, frozen. So I go to plan C and improvise. I run to Lowe's and I grab a new water hose and I grab a new pressure washer. And luckily, this day specifically, the sun was out just enough to thaw out this exposed pipe and have some running water coming out of it. I put the new hose, the new pressure washer, to this exposed pipe. It wasn't pretty and it's definitely not best practice. It was just to get us by for the next day of printing. But guess what? During this whole time while I'm trying to run around, trying to scramble to get this water up and running, the part that I was genuinely stressed about was my screen room. So typically my screen room is temperature controlled with this mini split and it works great. But here lately, worst timing, these low freezing temperatures have been shutting off my mini split, making it unusable. And I've had it looked at several times, but nobody can seem to find the issue with it. So my screen sat in freezing temperatures for 3 to 4 days alongside my M&R eye image that was also sitting in this same cold ice box. Looking back, I should have gone into the screen room, bagged up these screens and moved them into my shop where the press sits with an HVAC unit. But I never got around to it. And so yeah, while I was scrambling to get the water fixed, I'm thinking in my head, these screens are about to be so useless. Like too dry, the moisture gone, nothing is going to behave right. And I don't know every piece of the science, but I know what I was worried about. If the screens are too dry, the ink from the eye image can spread when it hits the emulsion and your design can get very fuzzy and sometimes almost unusable. And this was the day before the jobs were due, so I needed these screens to work. So I even grabbed a handful of screens while I dealt with my water situation. I brought them into my warm shop and I put them behind this black curtain where my old screen room used to be, and I put a humidifier on them, hoping that this would put some moisture on to the emulsion. But first, before I used these screens, I tested out to see if I could use the cold screens in my cold screen room to see if these would work. And to my surprise, they worked perfectly. These screens were coated about 5 to 6 days before the freeze, so I'm guessing they just had enough moisture to behave normally. Now, do I want to run my screen room at freezing temperatures all the time on purpose? Of course not. But this did debunk something for me. You don't always need perfect ideal conditions for the eye image to work in a pinch. It's more resilient than I gave it credit for. So that was last night, and this morning, we've got just under 600 impressions across 4 jobs. All right, so here's the takeaways from this whole freeze stress test winter storm here in Texas. If you're going to build a backup water system or a backup redundancy system, you've got to protect that backup system. And for me, it's keeping this tank warm in the future. But really the long-term fix is I need to trench, put pipe underground and have it go straight into the shop. So I'm not dealing with this exposed pipe that always freezes over every late January, February, and then it becomes a big hassle. Drop a comment and tell me what your biggest winter bottleneck has been. Was it water? Was it heat? Was it power? I remember I used to have emulsion freeze up on me and hope to God that it was going to work. The main water froze, the backup water froze, but the screen making still happened. All right, guys, hopefully that was just some of the behind the scenes that doesn't always make it on Instagram, that, you know, we all post pretty rainbows and flowers and puppies. Hopefully you saw some real work, some real problem solving here, and it provided some value to you or some entertainment. And if you found this video helpful or insightful, please like the video and of course subscribe if you have not already, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye.